Hello and welcome to Art School Live. Today I am your guest host, 𝗲𝗲𝗍𝗫. I'm standing in for �eric Rhodes, who is out and about on some art adventures with his team for the week. And today my guest is Patti Mollica.
Hi, everyone. I guess I'm on right now.
Yeah. Hi, Patti, and welcome to Art School Live. We're so happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to teach us today.
Well, I'm going to talk about the importance of doing a value study before you actually jump into the painting, because I have found that it's invaluable in terms of saving time once you get into the color, because you've already basically done the major step first that is going to it's kind of like a map that tells you where to go once you get into the color. It doesn't tell you color, it just tells you value. So that's what we're going to do today.
Okay, I'm so excited to do values with you today as a starting point for our paintings, and let's get this show started.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhodes. Now, here's your host, Eric Rhodes.
But I usually...
So you may have noticed that I am not, in fact, Eric Rhodes. My name is 𝗲𝗲𝗍𝗫 with the School of Atelier Arts, and I am subbing for Eric, who's away in Raleigh with the team meeting. Today, my guest is Patti Mollica, and she's going to teach us how to get our paintings on track thanks to value studies. Patti, take it away.
Okay. Shall I repeat what I just said?
Yes, please.
Okay. So one of the things I find invaluable in painting is to do a value study first and to keep it as simple as possible in regards to how many values you actually give yourself permission to use. So I like to boil down, I guess you could say, a value study into 3 values: a light, a middle, and a dark. The fewer values you have, the harder it is to actually edit out. But I find that 3 values is a good way to go. So I'm going to talk about how to use the value study as somewhat of a roadmap while you're painting in color, so you don't even have to think about it when you get to the color part.
Great. So when you're using values as a roadmap, are you going to do the values first and then paint over your values with color later?
Well, that's a good question. What I normally do is I do my value study first, and then I always have it in front of me while I'm painting in color. And then I translate my value study. I sketch out, my subject, and then I usually do start laying in some values first. That's actually a better way to go than just having an outline, which is sort of what I have here.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being, I didn't want to go too far, before people had a chance to see what I was up to. So in this case, I'll probably, since the time is so short, I'll probably just jump right into the values in color.
Okay, great. Well, I can't wait to learn more about how you use this value study as a roadmap for your painting.
Okay, great. So I'd like to explain a little bit beforehand about how to do a value study. And there's many ways to do it in terms of how you, like what materials or what substrate you're using. But one of the things I've used for many years is just a gray, just gray sketchbook. And then I do my studies with like a dark value. The middle value is already there because that's what the gray is. And then I have a piece of like white chalk, and I use that for my lights. So I'm just showing you a few of my value studies. And sometimes what I do is I do the little study and then I put a piece of tissue paper over it, either to protect it sometimes, but actually just to provide a grid so that when I'm ready to move to the canvas, I've got my bearings.
Oh, that's a very innovative thing to do.
Yeah, plus it helps protect the sketches.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's just kind of an easy way to start translating. I just want to show you a, let's see, like for instance, there's one. Doing the value study really simplifies everything in a manner that you just know where you're going. And it allows me, once I figured out that part of it, like what value should I make this?
Mhm.
And the tricky part is you're not necessarily copying what you see. You're doing what's going to work. Because if you were just copying what you were seeing, that's presuming that the subject, that the way the values are inherent in the subject that you're looking at are going to read really well. Well, life isn't perfect. And
No, you don't break my heart, Patty.
and so what you're doing in the value sketch is you're actually designing. You're designing what works. I have a long background as a graphic designer. So it took me a while to figure out that I was supposed to be doing that with my paintings. But see, you can see, here's a book I wrote, but you can see how I do the value sketch first and how that just, like even the shading in the corner here, like that, that I had to choose, that wasn't in the photo and it wasn't in my setup. I had to choose that to put it in order to have this stand out. So that's kind of, and then I lightened up in order to have that stand out. So it's really all about design. And design is really like a puzzle. You can't theorize it. You just have to get in there with your charcoal and your chalks and whatever, and just kind of figure out what is going to work from a black, white, and gray standpoint. And if you can't get it in black, white, and gray, then you may struggle when you get to the color.
I love this idea of thinking of your composition as a puzzle, that you can't theorize your way out of it, that you need to find all the way the pieces fit together.
It's really true. I mean, because if you say, well, I'm going to make this dark, I'm going to make this light, I'm going to make that a middle, it's like, you can't picture that. You have to do it. You have to see how it works. And
Sure.
then what you may do is you may say, oh, that doesn't work at all. What I really need to do is I need to make this a middle instead of a dark. So, yeah. So, and one other, I just want to show you that for every subject, even as simple as an apple, okay, just one apple. Well, there's actually two, but one is the actual subject. There's not one right value study, because you can change it according to whatever mood. Like for instance, here's 4 value studies of that photo, and you can see how that works out in color. And once you've got the values worked out, you can use any colors you want. So it really is, to me, it's the key to, the likelihood of successful paintings. And it's also the key to color freedom, because you're not locked in trying to replicate exactly what you see. You've already designed it.
I love this idea of doing multiple value studies. That hadn't occurred to me. I always assumed that the first study I did was what I was seeing and therefore the values, but you're talking about pushing your values in one direction or another to create a mood.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, no one told me that either, but having a background in graphic design, that was something that I figured out. Like, into my painting journey. It was like, oh my gosh, everything I was doing as a graphic designer in designing and making sure things work out, you know, in like small logos and things like that. It's
Sure.
like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing that with my paintings.
I
So
I
it was
love
a
how whenever people like land in the painting world, you know, whatever journey they took to get them there is really a part of them and really contributes to, you know, our known collective knowledge of painting.
Definitely. Yes. So so this is my key to painting fast, loose, and bold, which is what I've been teaching for years and years. But the first step is the value study.
And
So
just for clarity for our audience, the Fast, Loose, and Bold is your book, your published book, correct?
yeah, that's the
Mhm.
published book, and it's the workshops I teach, amongst others, but that's really the most popular because I like to paint fast. Many people are busy and they don't have time to kind of tickle a painting for, you know, months on end. And
I
I
love
know
that
I
phrase.
don't. So it's
Tickle a
like,
painting.
I like to, you know, get in there, get it done, move on to the next.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really excited to see this idea of painting a little bit more quickly, especially in the atelier world. You know, we're used to very slowly created paintings, so it's exciting to see how this value underpinning can help you paint fast and loose.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm happy to show you. And there's nothing wrong with painting slow. It's just that we all have different, you know, our personalities lend our personalities lend themselves to different methods that feel right and good for who we are. So I don't want to put down painting slow and painting very carefully.
Sure.
It's just, this is what I like to do. So.
I I love that. I think about that a lot. I teach online and I have students from all over the world there, but each one has kind of this unique handwriting that's unique to them. And whatever techniques I show them, some, you know, cling to it right away and it works for them. And others are like, that's probably not for me. And so I love this idea of, you know, style isn't something that you choose to do. Style is your collective preferences in painting that emerge over time with experience.
It's really true. And interestingly enough, I mean, some people who want to paint fast, loose, and bold, but in general, their lives are they live in a much more controlled manner.
Yeah,
They have it takes them a lot of, you know, risk taking to
sure.
do things in you know, a faster manner, and it may not even be who they, you know, really are in terms of, you know, their true voice. Their true voice may be a little more, you know, measured and careful. So
Yeah,
it's
I love
interesting.
Yeah, I see that a lot. And, you know, I also see how students evolve over time. You know, some of my students have been working with me for almost a decade now, right? And some of them started really tight and then became looser painting, excuse me, painters or vice versa. So I love this idea of being open to the new information and collecting the things that suit your personality and being honest with ourselves about what our personality
Definitely.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, so I'm going to go in right now. I'm just going to go ahead and start painting. I'm going to go in right now. Here's my value study. And I'm going to follow this closely because I've already translated the, you know, the flower into values. I've decided the shapes. So I don't really have to think about that too much now when I'm looking at the actual photo. So I'm just going to go in and basically, I'm going in with my dark, as you can see. So let's see, I can easily see the shapes that I've picked out.
So there's a couple questions about how you prepared your surface and also what palette you're using. Like, what are the colors on your palette?
Oh, okay. Well, that's, I'd kind of have to stop right now
Oh,
to go through all that. Let me address that in the end because that
sure.
will take up a good 5 minutes and
Sounds
time
good.
is of the essence.
It is. We do not
Um,
have much
okay.
time. You know, getting a painting done in one lunch break is a challenge.
That's right. Okay, so I'm just following what I've got here. I'm using a 1-inch brush and it suits my needs. That's another way that I can paint faster is by using much bigger brushes. Often my favorite brush is a 2-inch brush.
Wow.
But this works. This is fine. So I'm just basically, as you guys can see, I'm copying what I already decided. I don't have to think about it, which is really nice. Now I mixed up one pile of color here. If I weren't rushing, I would probably mix up some different darks. I mean, they don't all have to be the same, deep red made out of the same colors. As a matter of fact, I'll mix up a slight variation here. Well, maybe I'll just kind of do that. And let's see, where is let me get my photo. Oh, interestingly enough, I don't even have the photo in front of me. I should have the photo in front of me. Well, I guess this is oh, here it is. I was going to say, well, this is a good case of just following your value sketch. Okay, so I'm just kind of seeing where are the darkest areas, because I just mixed up a little pile that was a bit darker. So I'm going to just hit these areas with the slightly darker color here. Seems to be right there. Is there any other places? Maybe a little bit right up here. Just a tiny bit. This goes a bit darker there. And maybe there.
So do you prefer working from photo reference versus from life, or do you do a bit of both?
When I'm doing cityscapes, I love plein air. It's just that the logistics can be a little much.
Yeah,
So,
we were talking about this yesterday on Art School Live with our guest artist, and he was basically saying, "I don't like mosquitoes."
Yeah, well, one of the things that used to scare me about the city, standing on Fifth Avenue in front of the public library, which is like, it doesn't get more crowded.
Sure.
One of the things that used to, scare me about that was that, I was going to be surrounded by people, and they were going to be tugging, at my shirt saying, "Hey, lady, what are you painting?"
Right.
And the truth is, no one cares in New York. I mean, it's kind of hilarious that no one really cares.
That's great.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, it's like they kind of look at you like, get out of my way. What are you doing here?
I love that. It seems like different places that you paint can have a different reaction. I know some painters that keep a sign on their back saying that they're happy to talk to you the first 10 minutes of every hour so that they don't get interrupted.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Okay, so now I think I've got some of the darks in. I'm going to go in with my middle tone. Okay, we can see that here. I'm going to go in with that. And basically, cad red light it definitely is a middle tone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to, I just mixed up a batch of it right here. So let's see, and I can check it if I squint. Yeah, so that's a good middle tone. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of start knocking this stuff in.
So squinting is definitely a technique you use to check your values.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a slight little rim right here, which is really kind of pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of those little delicate nuances that show, it shows dimension. It's just a little tiny fold. It just kind of shows dimension. So you get to kind of choose. I didn't really go far enough with that dark there, but that's okay.
It's delightful to see you putting in some of these observed delights with such a large brush.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can believe it or not, you can get so much with a large brush. And again, it's one of those things that no one ever taught me. No one ever gave me a lesson in brushwork.
Mhm.
And it's not a no-brainer. I mean, you really do kind of have to, you've got to think about how to get the strokes that you want. They don't just happen on their own. So that's another thing I like to show people, because it seems so obvious, but in fact, it's not obvious.
Mhm.
So I do like, showing people, how do you, I mean, you can use a 3-inch brush and still get, I'm going to add a little yellow in here just because there might be more light down there, or just for the sake of variety, I guess.
Mhm.
Let's see. Now I got to follow my value sketch. Okay, so again, I'm going to take out another brush because I can see, I didn't fill in the values beforehand because I didn't want to do too much without, you guys watching. But I can see that I should have gone a little further down there. And this kind of tapers off like that. And now I can actually see it a little better. Let's see, I've got a little thing up here that I missed. And that shows a little bit of dimension.
Do you have advice for people that want to work on their brushwork, like any particular thing they can think about, or just general advice for developing your brushwork?
Geez, that's
That's a big question. Maybe
well,
a
I
little
guess the
unfair.
easiest thing to say is get a big brush and give it a go. Get familiar with it. It's like anything else that you take on that you've never tried before. See what your struggles are, and see how you can kind of go in and deal with them.
So what you're
Um,
saying is put on our bravery, like
Oh, well, that's, yeah.
our
I mean,
brave
for
heart.
anything that's new, we have to, yeah, put on that, that just kind of, I'm going to go for it and I'll see what happens. Who knows? That's how we get anything in life.
Wise words. Do you encourage your students to paint along with you as you're doing a demonstration like this, or do you think it's better to watch first and then attempt later?
I say watch first and attempt later. Yeah, and usually what I do is I'll record demos first so
Mhm.
that I can, really focus on what I'm doing,
Mhm.
and then, but not have any sound. And
Okay.
then and then I go in, and then I can explain every single little nuance, because I'm watching it just like them. And
Right.
I can get very articulate about what I'm doing and why. And okay, so I've got most of that in. Oh, I see a little piece that I missed right here. Okay, right there. Um, and maybe right around here. It's a little darker. Okay. Okay. How much time are we at right
So
now?
you have about 20-ish minutes, 25 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to change brushes. I've got another little 2-inch brush here, or I'm sorry, this is a 1-inch. I'm going to go in and I'm going to get my greens in. So I usually mix my greens because I don't really like to use, let's see, my value sketch. the green, I've got some dark greens and I've got some light greens. So I'm going to go in with the darkish green first.
Okay. And just a reminder for our listeners today, we are going to do the demo part first. And at the end, we'll give you an opportunity to ask all your questions about brushes and palette and the surface that she's working on. Again, everybody, if you're just joining us, our guest today is Patti Mollica. She's an acrylic painter, and you can follow her on Instagram at Patti_Mollica.
That's right. Yep. And also, just for the record, I paint in oils too. It's just that I always do demos in acrylic because they dry so fast.
Ah.
But yeah, I do plenty of oil paintings. Okay, so now this may seem like a like a minor detail, but the light, like everything has a light effect on it. And there is a middle and a dark to the stem. So no reason not to put that in, right? Okay, so I've got that. Now, have I gotten all my dark greens in?
Yes, Karen, Patti is going to be on Acrylic Live, and I'll give more details about that a little bit later in the demo.
Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my lighter green. There's that. Let's see here. Now I've got to look at the photo too, so I don't go into the flower part. Yeah, just kind of a little few things here and there. Not a whole lot going on up there. Now I have that leaf as a dark, but I'm going to, where's the light? Light's coming from that way. Yeah, maybe it would be hitting the side here. I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of mess around with that. And then maybe there's some stuff going on down here. Okay, and that has to go light.
So one thing I'm seeing with the way that you mix colors is that you're not so concerned about having even mixtures, that you're using some of the variation in your mixed piles and not worried about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it.
I like you. You seem so relaxed in your painting.
Well, it's actually, I like painting like this. I mean, this is not the way I was trained. I was trained to match everything perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just found out that I mean, I'm not trying to be a camera. I'm trying to be an artist. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to express my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, well, I mean, I think that says it. I'm trying to express my feelings. I'm not really trying to replicate what I see, because, a lot of times what I see, like, let's tie this into a cityscape. What I see is so exciting. It just, it makes my jaw drop. And it may be just a common scene, but maybe the way the movement and the lights and the energy of the city and the neon and people getting struck by sunlight, so exciting. So I'll take a picture of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get back to my studio, it's like I look at it and I go, what was I thinking? What's going on here? I mean, what did I see that I thought was so brilliant? And it's just, it's kind of weird. And so I realized that copying what I took a photograph of has no relation to how I felt.
Oh.
And the energy coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that I had to do a whole bunch of interpretation in order to, I had to do some abstraction. I have to add things that are not in the photo, like absolutely not in the photo. I just have
Sure.
to add colors and strokes and brushwork. And I've got to get the energy that I felt. And, that's where it's at for me as an artist, is using the photo as maybe a basic springboard, but then totally doing my own thing with it.
Would you say that visual memory is an important part of your practice?
Maybe visual memory, but really more so visual feel or emotional feeling.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like, if I was really excited by it, then how am I going to get that excitement in my painting?
Mhm.
It's like putting aspects of your emotion into your painting without having the advantage of I mean, I'm not painting what I see, I'm painting what I don't see. And
Mhm.
that can be a little bit, challenging, because it's actually easy to paint what you see in a way, once you have the technical skills.
Mhm.
But if you, because you just learn how to copy. And now I just want to, notice that one little, this kind of pops out, that one little um, petal there. So, I'm just going to kind of give some dimension by making that just a little bit lighter. And I can go in and I can make that underneath part just a little bit darker to just kind of show that dimension. Okay, so I've got that now. Maybe a couple of little things here, since I've got that on my brush. Okay, let's see. Let's move into the bottle. Now, one of the things you may notice in the value sketch is that I made the bottle more interesting, that bottle top.
Mm.
I gave it a little bit of, I don't know, personality, got some attitude about it now.
I love this. I love that you made your bottle have an attitude.
Well, everything can have an attitude. If you like, I mean, just like cartoons, if you exaggerate, or even a caricature, if
Mhm.
you exaggerate what you see, you can put attitude and swagger into basically anything.
You're reminding me of, I used to live in New Hampshire, and there was a tree on my street that grew up straight, and then it had this big curve over the street, and then it went back this straight. And it just felt like the sassiest tree you've ever
Yeah,
seen.
exactly.
And I couldn't look at that tree without feeling sassy about it.
Oh, I hope you painted it.
I did, but it's one of those paintings that's for me that nobody else would understand why.
Yeah, I do a lot of those. You know who appreciates that stuff is other artists.
That's
They
true.
get, yeah,
Yeah, that's a painter's painting right there.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we all have a whole collection of painters' paintings.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get the darks in as I see them. So that just kind of goes straight down. And okay, and then this is really, it's pretty much just, I'll add that a little bit. It's just kind of pretty dark.
So just a heads up, we have about 10 minutes before our promised discussion on your palette.
Okay, and I'll see. Well, let me ask you this. I could always upload the I could always upload what my palette is, but well, we'll just try to finish it, and I'll just try to finish it before then. Okay, I can do it.
I believe in you, Patty. I believe in you.
Just got to focus a little bit. Okay, so I've got my dark blue in, and let me get my lighter. Now I'm going to make this a why use exactly the same color? I added a little bit of manganese blue to that. So I'm just going to put my lighter blue right here. And this is just to kind of create those. They're really not that diagonal, but who cares? It gives it a little more personality, like we were talking about. And there is, okay, so there's a highlight here, and then there's a highlight there. So what I want to do is go in with a little bit. Now I probably shouldn't waste time cleaning up, but it won't take long. So I'm just going to clean up a couple of things here. Okay, so I got that. Is there any other blue? The background. All right, so let me quickly go into the background. The last thing I'm going to do is the little highlights. I mean, I could do them right now, but I think I'll just go in with the background. Now I'm going to use a 2-inch brush, I think, for the background. Just knock that in quickly. So
I can't wait to see you paint with this 2-inch brush.
Oh, it's fun.
The spaces look so tiny. My inside artist heart is like, how's she gonna do it?
It's just a matter of doing it. Now I've got to make sure I don't. Let's see. I'm gonna go in here now. First, I got to make sure it's a medium. Okay, I can tell. Okay, so that's a medium right there. All right, and I'm going to just kind of go around here as if. Now, here's where you want to, be careful. You want to be careful with your edge there. That's another thing that, I that I teach is, edges. They're super important. Now, let's see how I handled that. Okay, so that sticks out right there, and then there's a little kind of a loop there, and then another little one right here. And I'm just using the edge of my brush.
You are blowing my mind. I can't believe you can get that much detail with that brush. I've never seen anybody paint like that.
Well, this is what happens when, life does not allow you time to fuss with anything, because, a lot of times I'll start my paintings at like 10 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. Because I just, life is busy. Yeah. And this is just a great way of like just getting it done. And plus, I mean, I get bored easily. So I like to move on. It's just, I really do get bored. It's just like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to work on it anymore. So let me just get it done. And large brushes will definitely help you do that.
I am just astonished at this tiny space you just painted.
Well, I have actually, one of the things I've demoed is doing a 6 by 6 inch painting with a 2-inch brush.
What?
Yeah, it can be done.
Wow. You have really expanded my ideas about work in the last hour.
Oh, good. That's what this is about, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now I want to be careful right here. I want to get a nice crisp edge, and I kind of want to get that pointy kind of thing. Okay, so I went in a hair too far. As I'm looking, I can always fix that with paint, but I went in a hair too far, but that's okay. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm deviating. I can see I'm just kind of deviating a little bit from the value sketch. Not too bad. But just, shapes are very important. So, and here's that little ledge that I talked about earlier that I put in. Okay, so there, see, you've got that little tiny edge there that kind of folds over. Okay, and we got that right there. And so you got to be careful of your brush work, because you want to be confident. You want to be definitive about, what shapes you're making.
You have more confidence than I've ever seen with that 2-inch brush.
Oh,
So
well,
impressed.
that's because I've got a value sketch. Honest to God, it's because of my value sketch. All good things emanate from making your decisions first, and doing your painting later. Because you've really, the heavy lifting, honestly, is the value sketch. It's where you get to know your subject, and you're making decisions. You're deciding what's going to give it that oomph that it needs, and what you like. It's what you're bringing to the party. You're not just copying. You're actually making your decisions, and you're making the value sketch, your own.
Yeah, so don't show up to the party empty-handed. Have that champagne bottle in hand.
Absolutely. I love how art lessons apply to life too.
Oh, it's so true. I have a hard time distinguishing the difference oftentimes.
Okay, so I'm just going to go in here, get these edges, and I'm basically, and then at the end, you kind of look at it and you say, oh, okay, what does it need? Or, I kind of rushed through this, but I do want to mention one thing, which is it's a little disorienting to, well, let me see if it needs, I know what it needs. Let me just pop in a couple of things here, and then I can get right into the, now you can put your highlights on with a 2-inch brush. I mean, I'll do it just for the sake of showing you guys.
Sure. And just a heads up, we have about 5 minutes of painting time left.
Painting time.
Yeah, so you have a few more minutes of painting time, and then a few minutes to show us your palette, and then we'll be out of time for today.
Okay, so I'm not going to do it with a 2-inch brush because I didn't wet one first. I should have actually wet a 2-inch brush so it was a little more pliable, but I'll do it with a 1-inch brush. Okay.
So do you prep your brushes by keeping them in water before you paint?
Well, it's better if at least they were wet, because especially if I'm going to put on one delicate highlight with a 2-inch brush, I don't want the bristles to be I want them to be kind of together, like they're wet and they're kind of merging together a little bit. If they're dry, they're not really malleable. They're not as flexible. So I looked at the end of my brush and I could just see that it might not give me what I want. So I'm going to put these, I'm still working from my value study here, because I made these decisions. I decided how many highlights I have, or how many highlights I wanted, because a lot of times if you just paint every highlight that you see, it's you really want to edit. I need more paint for that. Just because the highlight is there, who says, now I got crap in my paint. Okay. Just because the highlight's there doesn't mean you got to put it in, because highlights are, they can be a little distracting.
I love how you don't let nature boss you around.
Well, there's another life lesson right there, right? So I'm going to put one. Even the highlights are important. Everything's important. I'm going to crisp them up just a little bit. So I'm going to Now I'm using, you can see I'm using a smaller brush here, but I don't want to, so it's just minor, but they're a little, I mean, they really are dots. They're not slashes, they're dots. So that's sort of important.
So being really mindful of the shape of the highlight, not just throwing it in as a light value, but looking at the drawing or the shape of the highlight.
I mean, basically, it's being aware of everything. Like, just like people, a lot of times, students think that fast, loose, and bold is fast, loose, and sloppy. And
Oh.
it's not. It's not at all.
Mhm.
It's being very mindful of what matters and what doesn't matter. Not everything matters. And that's where you that's where the value sketch really allows you to think about, take a look at it and say, well, what, you know, what do I need here? Like, do I need, just because it's there, do I actually need it? Is it helping my composition, or is it hurting it? So that highlight was a little too big. This one's
Right. So for those of you just joining us, we are with Patti Mollica today. You can follow her on Instagram at Patti Mollica. You might be surprised to see my face. It is not Eric Rhodes. My name's Mandy Tice, and I am subbing for Eric this week while he's off on an art adventure. And you can learn more about me at my Instagram at Mandy Fine Artist.
So I'm just popping in a few, like now I'm looking at it kind of for the first time, and it's like, okay, what does it need? Well, I think it needs a little contrast in a few places here. Maybe right there. Yeah, maybe right there. Give that a little bit of shape. That looks like it's jutting out. Okay, now it really looks like it's jutting out, which is kind of what I wanted. I think that doesn't need anything else. I've got the feeling of that. Do I want a hint right there? Maybe. Let's see, do I have everything? I think I do.
Excellent. Well, this is a great place if we can put a pause here to
Sure.
learn a little bit more about your palette, because we just have a few minutes left today.
Absolutely. Okay, so now I can focus.
Okay.
Okay, so I put my paints. Now, this is another thing. You might not want to run out and do this because this is acrylic paint. Acrylic paint dries, and yes, it's expensive. And we don't, you know, we want to protect our investment, but this is not a perfect system. But this allows me at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock or whatever it is to flip the lid and start painting. All my colors are there, and I can, you know, I can just start. So that's why I did this, because back when I was a pastel artist, all my colors were right there. And then when I started painting, I was like, are you kidding me? I gotta put out all those colors. And it was like, no way. So I just thought, I'm going to have them all ready as soon as I'm ready to go. So that's what this is. So here's a Payne's gray. This is neutral gray, which I don't use often, but I like having it there. This is ultramarine blue, manganese blue, teal, sap green, green gold. Nothing's in here. This is a Titan buff. This is dialoride yellow, cad yellow primrose, cad medium, yellow ochre, burnt umber, burnt sienna, ultramarine light, basically just blue mixed with white. This is titanium white, cad orange, magenta, cad red light, quinacridone magenta, alizarin crimson, and there's nothing here. And this is black. I keep meaning to put purple in there, but I always mix my purples. So you can also see another reason why this is not a perfect system. You know, it's these passages where the dark blue got into the yellow. You know, if you're a control freak, that will drive you crazy. But I'm not.
Yeah, this
And
is for the impatient painter, not the control freak painter.
absolutely. Yeah. And truthfully, sometimes you'll get some happy accidents and sometimes you'll get some unhappy accidents. So you just got to go with the flow and deal with it.
So there's a question in the chat about how you chose the color for your underpainting with how you toned your canvas to start.
Yeah, that's a great question. What I do since, okay, so there's all the red concentrated right here. And there's really, everything else is basically pretty much blue. So because I want the red to integrate a little bit, I put that light red as a basis to paint on. And you can see I didn't get very close here. But I don't know, that's sort of okay with me because I like the red popping through. And if I had been more focused, like right in here, I would have made sure that there was, I wasn't going in with such a heavy application of paint that all the red would be gone. See, there's some strokes here.
Mhm.
But there's really not much. Normally, when I'm, not demoing, I'll be a little more focused and I'll be aware of not like rushing through that part.
Sure.
I
Okay.
just wanted to finish.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful painting. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Again, everybody, you can follow Patti Mollica on Instagram at Patti_Mollica. And I have a gift for you. You can download this free ebook, 97 Incredible Art Secrets. So go to 97incredibleartsecrets.com/ASL. Or I guess on the screen is saying /free. I hope both take you there. And then also this week is Streamline's 12 Days of Christmas, which means that all week I get to give away prizes. I love this part. I love that Eric lets me do this part. So go to painttube.tv/day-2 to discover today's gifts. Plural, because there's more than one today. As a reminder, Streamline drops new gifts to shop for loved ones or yourself every day at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, today we have 4 giveaways, not 1, 2, or 3, but 4 giveaways. So get your fingers ready to put the secret words in the chat if you'd like to win one of our 4 giveaways today. So our first giveaway is Handel. If you want Albert Handel's video, Mastering Pastels. So if you want to try to win the Handel, type in Handel in the comments. So you have to actually type the name Handel because we're giving 4 giveaways. So it can't be just a pick me today because I need to know which one you're going for here. All right. So if you want the Handel, type in Handel for the video Mastering Pastels. All right. And congratulations to 𝗣𝗶𝗁𝗍𝗶. Congratulations. You won our project today. Excellent. So congratulations, 𝗣𝗶𝗁𝗍𝗶. I hope I'm not butchering your name too badly. And please do enjoy that. Okay. So next up, because we have so many giveaways today, so next up, we have Manser. If you want Georgia Manser's video, Vibrant Watercolor. So again, type Manser in the comments if you'd like an opportunity to win this prize. That's MANSUR. And she has this incredible Vibrant Watercolor video. So if you'd like to win this one, type it in the chat. Okay, and congratulations to Charlotte Throop. I'm trying to highlight you. There we go. Congratulations to Charlotte Throop. I hope I'm not butchering the way you pronounce your last name. Congratulations, you have won the Vibrant Watercolor video. All right, next up, because we still have 2 more giveaways, so don't feel too devastated if you haven't won yet. You still have 2 more chances. Okay, so next up, We have Larry Moore's video, the creativity course. So type in Moore, M-O-O-R-E, if you want Larry Moore's video, the creativity course. Again, that's M-O-O-R-E for your chance to win. And just a little reminder, if you've been selected, make sure to send an email to 𝗲𝗰𝗍𝗏publishing.com to claim your prize. So that's really important. We want to make sure that we're delivering these to you. So please make sure to send an email to claim your prize to 𝗲𝗰𝗍𝗏. Okay. And today, for the more, congratulations to Alex S. Alex S. Congratulations. Please make sure to send an email to 𝗲𝗰𝗍𝗏@streamlinepublishing.com to claim your prize. All right, one more opportunity today for all the goodies. So today, our last prize is if you want Vicki Sullivan's video, Painting Realistic Portraits, type Sullivan in the chat. So painting realistic portraits with the delightful Vicki Sullivan. So type in Sullivan in the chat. Again, those of you who have won prizes, make sure to email 𝗲𝗏𝗍𝗏@streamlinepublishing.com to claim your prize. Excuse me. And congratulations to Lynn QC. Lynn QC, you have won the prize for the realistic painting of portraits from Vicki Sullivan. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. It is so much fun guest hosting for Eric, especially when I get to give away the goodies. Again, my name is Mandy Tice. I run the School of Atelier Arts. You can follow me on Instagram at Mandy Fine Artist or sign up for my newsletter at schoolofatelierarts.com. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow.